Is the Triumph Trident 660 the perfect bike for the older rider looking to do some more spirited riding? Or is it just an inexpensive bike that lacks soul and character? Well, I put 2,500 miles on mine, and I'll let you know what I think. This is a review of the 2025 Triumph Trident 660. It's a great bike to ride, but it's not perfect, and it's probably not my forever bike. I've had the Trident 660 for a little over 3 weeks, and in that time I've put 2,500 miles on it riding the twisties, taking 2 700+ mile overnight adventures, and flogging the hell out of it with friends on group rides. Aside from the Trident not being an ideal touring bike, it's done everything I've asked it to, and it's done it well. I don't want to get too deep into the spec sheet, but for context, this is a 660cc triple, an engine that Triumph has all but perfected. It's got 81 horses at 10,250 RPM and a healthy 47 foot-pounds of torque at 6,250 RPM. What this means is, it's quick off the line, it delivers its power smoothly up to redline, and it's got enough power to go as fast as you'll ever need to on the freeway. It's a fantastic little package that Triumph is priced fairly at around $8,500 US. And for 2025, they've thrown in a quick shifter, a sport riding mode, lane-sensitive ABS and traction control, and even a Bluetooth hub that actually works quite nicely. In fact, of all the bikes I've owned, this is the best Bluetooth setup I've run into so far. Also, the bike comes with cruise control. So on paper, and even on the road, the 2025 Triumph Trident 660 ticks a lot of boxes for the older rider looking to have a bit of a go at a more sporty, spirited type of riding. That's why I bought it. As someone whose biological clock is ticking like a dime store Timex, I wanted to once again experience the thrill and adrenaline rush of a quick bike before my reflexes start fading. Eventually, maybe I'll progress to the point where I outgrow this and want to buy something like a street triple, but honestly, I'm not sure that's ever going to happen. There's only so fast you can go on American roads these days, and this bike will go way faster than that. It handles just about as well as any bike I've ever ridden, and it's light, it's nimble, it's relatively cheap for a motorcycle. I don't know. Maybe someday, but not today. Today I'm happy with this. As enjoyable as the Trident is to ride, I'm conflicted with the overall ownership experience. This is no reflection on the bike itself, but more on modern bikes in general. The Trident has everything I wanted in a bike, including the heated grips I added before even taking delivery. It's got cruise control, which is all but mandatory for me going forward. Aesthetically, to me, it looks fantastic. Not too retro, not too modern, an almost perfect middle ground. The problem is, compared with something like the new Triumph Speed Twin 1200 RS, the Trident looks and feels a bit cheap. It's got a plastic gas tank that scratches if you look at it the wrong way. It's got other plastic parts that flex when touched. It has cheap levers with a non-adjustable clutch lever. I've had to place gaffer's tape strategically on the frame to block squeaking from the seat. Corners have been cut here, because of course they have. It's nearly half the price of the Speed Twin 1200 RS, and so I'd expect it to have half the quality. The good news here is that it's much more than half the quality of the Speed Twin, but it's still not a Speed Twin. At $8,500, that's understandable, and I commend Triumph for producing such an outstanding motorcycle for such an affordable price. The Trident is worth every penny that Triumph asks for it. The question becomes, is this my forever bike? Could a bike like this ever be a forever bike to me? And the answer, quite honestly, is no. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the main reasons is, while this bike is fantastic and it has a certain amount of character, it doesn't have so much character that you look at it and you say, oh yeah, I could definitely spend the rest of my life with just this bike. It's not that kind of bike, to be honest. It's more of a transitional bike. It's a bike you get when you're not exactly sure whether you want to ride spirited in the mountains or you want to ride up into the mountains on a dirt bike or whatever, you know? It's the bike you get without having to spend a ton of money to really figure out what the next step is. Once you figure out what the next step is, then maybe you trade it in for something else, or you sell it, or maybe you keep it as a second or a third bike. But could I see myself owning this bike in 10 years? Probably not. But I knew that going in. I traded what I thought was going to be my forever bike, my Scrambler 900, for this Trident, not because I fell out of love with the Scrambler, but because life is short and I wanted to experience new things. So to that end, the Trident is kind of the perfect bike for me right now. It's cheap enough that I don't feel like I've made a huge investment, but it scratches an itch in my riding experience that needed scratching. When I step back and look at the Trident, I can appreciate it for what it is. And here's what I think the Trident is. In 2020, while the world was hanging on through a pandemic, Triumph introduced the Trident 660 as their entry-level roadster to compete with bikes like the Yamaha MT-07 and the Honda CB650R. I think they quickly realized this bike was more than just an introduction to the Triumph brand. It was its own thing, a fully competent, fun, spirited roadster that would appeal to a decent cross-section of motorcycle riders. But to keep the price at an entry-level price point, the bike would never be produced at the same quality level as their modern classics like the Bonnevilles or the Speed Twins. And this, I believe, is a good thing. A bike like the Trident gets you fairly close to the riding experience of a Speed Twin 1200 RS, but at a price that many more buyers can afford. Or at least at a price that buyers are willing to afford. Let's face it, as fine as the Speed Twin is it really worth $17,000? Maybe. But I'm positive the Trident is worth $8,500. So that's what I see when I look at my Trident. A great little bike that is providing endless fun and joy, but not a bike that's of such quality and character that I want to baby it and preserve it as a showpiece. I'm being realistic with myself that the Trident 660 is here for now, and we're probably going to enjoy the hell out of our time together. But we're not in this for the long haul. Once we end our time together, whether it's next year or in 3 years, I'll know better if this is the kind of bike I really want. And if it is, something like the Speed Twins price tag might make more sense to me. And if you're looking for a bike to improve your road riding skills, to explore a more spirited style of riding, to test the waters with a more modern bike than what you ride now, or if you just want a really great bike at a completely reasonable price, then I'd say you don't really need to look much further than the Trident, especially if you're already a Triumph fan like me, and especially if you're an older rider looking for something manageable. But if you're looking for your forever bike, something you'll meticulously polish, photograph, brag about, and even pass along to your kids when you age out, I don't think this is the bike for you. It's just not that kind of bike. What the Trident lacks in soul and character, it makes up for in ride quality and fun factor. It's truly a fun, satisfying, and confidence-building bike. Will that be enough long term? I don't think so, but we'll see. Anyway, that's my 2,500 mile review, if you will, of the Trident 660. If you like this video and you like this kind of video, consider subscribing to the channel. Maybe even click that like button. If you subscribe, I've got a surprise coming up for you within the next week or two. Should be a good one, so stick around. I'll catch you on the next one.